Welcome to Tax990, your trusted platform for preparing and electronically filing IRS Form 990 series returns quickly, accurately, and securely. In this guided tutorial, we'll walk through how to file Form 990 using Tax990's interview-based filing method. Throughout the filing process, Tax990 automatically organizes information, generates applicable schedules, and helps streamline IRS reporting requirements. Let's get started. From the filing dashboard, you'll see your organization's information, including the organization name, EIN, and registered address. Next, select the tax year you want to file for. For this demonstration, we'll select the current filing year. Based on the organization type and IRS filing requirements, Tax990 automatically displays the applicable forms available for filing. To begin the process, click Start Filing next to Form 990. Next, choose how you would like to complete the return. For this walkthrough, select Start Interview Based. This method guides organizations through a series of simple questions while automatically building the return in the background. The interview-based filing method is ideal for organizations that prefer a guided experience and want assistance organizing filing information throughout the process. Once selected, continue to the next step. Now confirm the organization's tax year information. Most organizations file on a calendar year basis ending December 31st, although fiscal year organizations may select a different reporting period. Below, Tax990 displays several filing condition options for situations such as first year filings, final returns, amended returns, name or address changes, and pending exemption applications. Select all options that apply to the organization. If none apply, leave the boxes unchecked and continue. Next, enter the organization's legal and tax-related information. This section includes form of organization, tax-exempt classification, year exemption was granted, year of formation, and state of legal domicile. You'll also select the organization's accounting method, such as cash, accrual, or other. This selection should match the organization's financial record-keeping practices. Once all required information has been entered and reviewed, click Next to continue. The next step asks whether the organization operates under an IRS group exemption. Organizations included under a parent or central organization's exemption ruling should select Yes. Organizations filing independently should select No. For this demonstration, we'll select No and continue. Next, complete the public charity status and public support section. This step helps determine the organization's IRS public charity classification. Carefully review the available classifications and select the option that best applies to the organization based on its structure and operations. Once complete, click Next to continue. Tax990 now guides organizations through a series of additional information questions. These interview-style questions help determine which IRS schedules and supplemental reporting sections may be required as part of the return. Questions may relate to political or lobbying activities, foreign activities, hospital facilities, tax-exempt bonds, transactions with interested persons, related organizations, and supplemental financial reporting. Organizations should carefully review all questions and provide accurate responses based on their activities during the tax year to ensure proper IRS compliance and reporting. Once the applicable questions have been reviewed, continue to the next section. Tax990 now displays an organization information summary screen containing the information entered throughout the setup process. Review the organization's name and EIN, address information, tax year and accounting method, tax-exempt classification, and public charity status. If any updates are needed, use the Edit option beside the applicable section. After reviewing the information, click Next to proceed. Before entering the core filing sections, Tax990 asks for the type of return filed during the previous tax year. This helps streamline reporting and assist with prior year comparisons. Select the applicable prior year filing type and continue. You've now reached the primary Form 990 filing dashboard. Tax990 organizes the return in separate sections for easier navigation and data entry. Each section can be completed independently, and Tax990 automatically saves progress throughout the filing process. We'll begin with the organization's program service section. The organization mission section is used to describe the organization's primary exempt purpose and activities. Enter a clear mission statement explaining the organization's purpose and how it serves the public or community. If the organization does not have a formally adopted mission statement, Tax990 provides an option indicating that no formal mission has been ratified. Once complete, continue to the next step. Next, complete the Program Service Accomplishments section. This area summarizes the organization's major charitable activities and operational accomplishments during the tax year. Tax990 asks whether the organization started significant new programs or discontinued or significantly changed existing programs. Answer each question carefully based on the organization's activities. To add accomplishments, select Add Program Service and enter the program name, a description of activities performed, and how those activities further the organization's exempt purpose. Organizations may add multiple program accomplishments as needed. Once completed, continue to the Revenue section. The Statement of Revenue section is used to report the organization's revenue sources and financial activity during the tax year. Only complete the sections applicable to the organization. If the organization collected membership dues or assessments during the year, select Yes and choose Add Membership. Enter the required membership details, including membership program information, revenue collected, whether benefits were provided in exchange for membership, and whether foreign activities were involved. Tax990 also provides additional IRS guidance to help organizations properly classify membership revenue. The Contributions, Gifts, and Grants section is used to report fundraising revenue, donations, grants, and contribution-related activity. If the organization conducted fundraising events during the year, select Yes and choose Add Fundraising Event. Enter details such as event name, revenue generated, direct event expenses, non-cash contributions, and other event-related costs. Tax990 automatically calculates gross income, expenses, and net fundraising activity for IRS reporting purposes. Organizations should carefully review all classifications and reporting categories before saving the event. Next, indicate whether the organization received contributions above applicable IRS reporting thresholds during the tax year. Organizations may add contribution details individually or upload contributor information in bulk using the bulk upload feature. Enter all required contributor information carefully to ensure accurate Schedule B and supplemental reporting. Continue through the remaining revenue categories, including program service revenue, investment income, royalties, and sale of assets. These sections are used to report revenue generated directly from the organization's exempt activities, investments, or asset transactions. Only complete the categories applicable to the organization's operations during the reporting year. Next, navigate to the Statement of Functional Expenses section. This area reports the organization's operational, administrative, and program-related expenses. Expense categories may include grants and assistance, salaries and compensation, professional service fees, operational expenses, joint costs, and other organizational expenses. Organizations should carefully review each category and complete all applicable sections. If the organization provided grants, scholarships, or other assistance during the year, select Yes and choose Add Grants. Enter the required details including grant purpose, recipient information, number of recipients, geographic activity, and whether the grant activity supported exempt program services. Organizations should review all applicable IRS reporting requirements carefully before saving grant information. The Joint Costs section is used to report expenses associated with combined educational and fundraising campaigns. Organizations may enter total joint costs, educational expenses, management and general expenses, and fundraising allocations. Tax990 automatically summarizes expense allocations across the applicable reporting categories. Once all applicable expenses sections have been completed, continue to the Net Assets and Balance Sheet section. The Net Assets and Balance Sheet section is used to report the organization's assets, liabilities, fund balances, and reconciliation information. Organizations may report cash and receivables, investments, property and equipment, other assets and liabilities, and year-end fund balances. Enter beginning of year and end of year balances where applicable. Tax990 automatically pulls certain totals from previously completed revenue and expense sections to help streamline reporting. The Liabilities Overview page summarizes the types of liabilities an organization may need to report. On the Liabilities screen, Enter the organization's applicable liability balances for both the beginning of the year and the end of the year. Common liability categories may include accounts payable and accrued expenses, grants payable, deferred revenue, tax-exempt bond liabilities, unsecured notes and loans payable, and other liabilities. Tax990 automatically calculates total liabilities based on the information entered. Once all applicable liability fields have been completed and reviewed, click Next to continue. Next, Tax990 asks whether the organization follows financial accounting standards, also known as SFAS 117 or ASC 958. Select the option that accurately describes the organization's accounting treatment. If yes, Tax990 will ask for net assets categorized by donor restriction. Enter the applicable beginning of year and end of year amounts for net assets without donor restrictions and net assets with donor restrictions. Once completed, click Next to continue. The balance sheet screen provides a summary of the organization's assets, liabilities, and net assets or fund balances. Review the beginning of year and end of year amounts carefully. If any information needs to be updated, select Edit beside the appropriate section. Tax990 also checks whether the balance sheet is balanced, confirming that total assets match total liabilities plus net assets or fund balances. Once the balance sheet has been reviewed, click Next to continue. Next, complete the net assets reconciliation section. This page helps reconcile the organization's beginning net assets with current year activity and ending balances. Tax990 automatically pulls information from previous sections, such as total revenue and total expenses. Organizations may also enter additional changes in net assets when applicable. If the organization had other changes in net assets or fund balances, select Yes to provide additional details. Next, review the reconciliation of net assets section. This page summarizes changes between beginning and ending balances. And allows organizations to report additional reconciliation adjustments if necessary. Carefully review all balances and reconciliation entries before proceeding. The List of Officers section is used to report officers, directors, trustees, key employees, and other applicable individuals associated with the organization. Enter the required information for each applicable individual based on the organization's records. After completing the officer information, the return moves into several compliance-related sections, including other IRS filings and tax compliance, governance, management, and disclosure, and more information. For demonstration purposes, we will not walk through each compliance question in detail. However, organizations should carefully review all questions and complete any sections applicable to their filing requirements and operational activities. These sections are important for ensuring accurate IRS reporting and maintaining organizational compliance. Next, complete the Business Officer and Signing Authority section. Enter the contact information for the individual designated to receive IRS correspondence and organization-related inquiries. Then enter the authorized signer's information, including name, signature title, and optional e-signature identification information if applicable. Tax990 also displays preparer information and asks whether the IRS may discuss the return with the preparer. Once completed, click Next to continue. After all required sections have been completed, Tax990 automatically performs an error check to identify missing information or potential filing issues. Errors must be resolved before filing, while warnings may be reviewed and addressed as needed. Carefully review all notifications and resolve any required issues before continuing. Tax990 also provides the option to share the return for review and approval before filing. Organizations may invite reviewers by entering names and email addresses. Reviewers can securely access the return and provide feedback before submission. For demonstration purposes, we will skip the reviewer invitation process. Next, the system moves to the Form 8453-TE e-file signature authorization step. Organizations may send an electronic signature request to the authorized signer or upload a manually signed Form 8453-TE. Once the authorization form has been signed and uploaded successfully, the return is authorized for e-filing. The service fee page provides a summary of filing services and any optional add-on services available within the platform. Review the order summary carefully before proceeding. Next, Tax990 displays the final transmit to the IRS page, where organizations can review organization details, return information, filing summary, and transmission details. Once all information has been reviewed and confirmed, click Complete Your Payment and Transmit to the IRS to electronically submit the return to the IRS. Tax990 streamlines the Form 990 filing process by guiding organizations through each stage of preparation, review, authorization, and electronic submission. While this demonstration provided an overview of the filing workflow, organizations should carefully review all filing sections, compliance questions, and supporting information before submitting their return. Ready to simplify your nonprofit filing process? Log into Tax990 today to prepare, review, and electronically file your Form 990 with confidence.